Here's a question that I've been pondering because I think it affects our organization too, the Concord Coalition. As we make the argument that we need more revenue and that we can't rely solely on taxing the wealthy because there's just simply not enough money there. And by the way, that money is really, really mobile. And that it also, for democratic purposes, it's worthwhile for everybody to have some skin in the game. Is there some discordance between that position, but then also supporting something like an expanded child tax credit, which, not only reduces the tax liability for people below 400,000, but actually, that credit is refundable. So they would actually get, the taxes that they paid back plus some. So there's an income support element to that as well. Do you see any kind of discordance there, or how can we reconcile these two thoughts?
Yeah, I actually don't think there's a discordance there because for two reasons. Number one, I think different groups of taxpayers have different needs, and different groups have different needs, and we want our tax system to succeed on different measures of equity. Like we think about vertical equity being fairness between uh, people at different levels of the income distribution. But there's also this concept of horizontal equity that we want to treat like people the same way. And you could have two households. I think this goes back to our earlier conversation. You could have one household that is a single childless adult making $100,000, and you have parents trying to raise two kids also making $100,000. Uh, in terms of disposable income, living standards, that single adult is doing much better financially, and so I think there's a good argument for reducing that. You're reducing that living standard disparity, and by doing so, you're creating a tax disparity between them. And so, I think there's a strong argument for taxing people with kids at a lower rate than somebody without kids who is making the same income. The other point I'd make, and this goes back to I think our conversation on the VAT, is just because you're you're not trying to be redistributed. I mean, there's some role for redistribution, but just because your primary goal isn't redistribution doesn't mean that there aren't benefits to changing how you are taxing things, what the incentives are. So, for example, I'm in favor of higher corporate taxation. I think we gave too much money to corporations during the Trump tax cuts. They need to be paying their fair share. We have tons of proposals to do that, but I believe that companies that are doing research and development, that are making long-term investments in the future, are making greater contributions to the long-term health of our economy than businesses that aren't. And I think that there is a role in, and also, by the way, that's an expense that they're incurring, and so their real profit is lower as a result of that spending. So I think in the same way that we want tax equity between different types of people to be different, I think we also need to be paying similar attention to how we're structuring our business taxes.